Good evening. Can you hear me back there? Okay, seems a little low down. Okay, any better? Good. Welcome to KCC Evening Practice. See some new faces, at least people I haven't met yet, so special welcome to you. And what are we doing here? So, may sound like a silly question, but it's important for each of us to take a moment and think about your motivation for coming here. You have endless choices in life, but here you are. So just take a moment and check in with your own wisdom and compassion. See what you find there, why you are here. We're going to follow our usual schedule on Sundays. It's the same thing we do in the morning and the evening. So we'll do about 45 minutes of calm abiding with some guidance. And we'll have a tea break. There's tea and snacks in the back of the room and time to talk and get to know each other a bit. And then if you can stay for the last 45 minutes to an hour, it's a question and answer and Dharma discussion time, and it's quite open, and every question is welcome. So in order to what some teachers call expand our motivation for coming, whatever you found in your own mind and heart, it's quite good to open to the vast and profound truth that we function within. An unobstructed, vast potential. And we can take a step toward that by visualizing our mother of this life on our right, our father on our left, as though they are here with you. It doesn't matter if they're still alive and in that form. Still, they have been your parents of this life and gave you the gift of life. So bring them here in your mind's eye, in your heart. Also, you can picture friends and other family members all around you. Strangers to you, but beloved by someone. Then we label some people difficult or enemies, or perhaps they label us difficult enemy. Merely labels. Bring them here too, especially if you're having any kind of struggle with someone. It's quite good to imagine them sitting with you in a peaceful way. Then we can bring to mind the countless animals, birds, fish, insects, leaving no being out. And there are many teachings that there are myriad forms as vast as space that with our limited senses we don't see or hear, except perhaps occasionally. So imagine that they also have joined. All of us are dependent on one another for this very life. That's not hard to imagine. If we think of our food, water, shelter, medicine, we understand that we don't create that by ourselves alone. This is a very deep interdependence, much deeper than we usually experience. It's an unbounded kind of interdependence, and it's beginningless and endless. So within this kind of view, we go for refuge from the suffering that we undergo daily and others do too, of body and mind and brokenheartedness. And we also generate what's called bodhicitta, the awakened mind, the mind that understands things just as they are, fully accepts, meets everything with an open-hearted compassion. So let's do this recitation together. Till the summit of enlightenment is reached, I and all beings go for refuge to the sources of true refuge. I will now practice the absorption of calm abiding in order to release all beings from their particular suffering and establish them in lasting peace and happiness. Until the summit of enlightenment is reached, I and all beings go for refuge to the sources of true refuge. I will now practice the absorption of calm abiding in order to release all beings from their particular suffering and establish them in lasting peace and happiness. Until the summit of enlightenment is reached, I and all beings go for refuge to the sources of true refuge. I will now practice the absorption of calm abiding in order to release all beings from their particular suffering and establish them in lasting peace and happiness. So this prayer 2 times says, all beings. With all beings we go for refuge from suffering, and with all beings we pledge to release them, to practice right now something that will help lead to releasing every single one of them from their suffering. This is a reference to the bodhicitta mind, the fully awakened mind and heart. And Lama Michael recently said, bodhicitta is the intention to recognize the awakened mind that we already have. It's an intention to recognize the awakened mind we already have, and to offer that awakened mind to all beings. So when we recognize the fully awakened mind, free of delusion, free of the delusion of nihilism, that nothing matters, and free of the delusion of eternalism that everything is so solid, so important, and circles around a kind of a solid, separate self, free of all that. When we have that mind and heart of freedom, that's the offering. Our presence alone will be helpful, much less any skillful means we use. So there are, I can't remember, 84,000, that's the number, 84,000 practices they say the Buddha taught. It's a good thing we don't have to do all of them. But we can find 1, 2, or 3, or half a dozen that really sing to us and practice them regularly, diligently, and with a motivation to end suffering of others and self. And one of the practices that pretty much every lineage in Buddhism agrees on is this practice called shine, calm abiding. It's called a foundational practice because we all know we really can't, even in the most common sense way, learn something if we can't focus, if we can't relax, yet be alert, and notice very deeply what's going on. When we practice calm abiding, one thing that happens is we get to know our mind, and we get to know thoughts, and we get to know what are called emotions, and we get to know sensations. And as we get to know those, there's no way to not see their impermanence. It's obvious. Even you try to hold a thought and keep it from changing, impossible. This is the nature of the mind, the nature of thoughts, the nature of every single element in the world. Impermanent, changing every moment. And as we practice our calm abiding, we can see each moment is completely fresh and new. Only our habitual mind conflates it and says, oh, another breath, same as the last breath. But it's not. So that's a thing we can notice. What I'm saying right now is coming into being, barely abiding, and passing, already gone. I'll never say that again. Even if I use the same words, I can't say that again. So as we sit relaxed, check in with your physical self. It's sometimes helpful to take some deep breaths. Feel that you have a supple way of sitting, strong but not rigid, firm, not tense. Then relax the body. And relax the mind. Thoughts come, thoughts go, that's fine. We're not suppressing thought. We're also not expressing thought. We're not doing anything with it. We don't choose it. We don't manage it. It's just happening from habit. That's okay. What our task to do is, very gently, with a lot of relaxation and even a sense of confidence, simply see the thought or the jumble of thoughts. Hi, great, jumble of thoughts, big deal, no problem. We get into difficulty, and that is suffering, when we grab it, follow it, mull it over, increase it, make it solid, do all the things that are totally unnecessary. Because the thought itself, if you simply look, will automatically at some point dissipate. This is true for emotions. This is true for sensations. It's also good to have kind of a, at the beginning we have to kind of try, and then we relax. But one of the sort of trying, not too hard, without stress, is to have a kind of bright mind, like awake and aware. If you feel very foggy and dreamy, then you can kind of brighten your mind. It's good to keep the eyes open a little bit if that works for you. Fix them on one object in front of you. Could be a dot on the floor or a fold in the cloth. And then you don't need to look at that anymore. It's just there. It's a spot for your eyes to stay. Most people use the breath as an anchor, but you can also use a visualization if you're used to that. If you're not used to doing this, it's best to use the breath. Pay attention at the nostrils. See if you can actually feel the breath coming in. Pausing, going out. Inevitably, due to our karmic mind patterns, the mind will wander. No problem. When you see that, bring it back gently, persistently. And each time you bring it back, you can feel happy that you saw the distraction and you came back to your object of focus. So we'll continue like this with short breaks. Now staying very still with the body, check in whether your mind is on the object you've chosen. If it's off, no judgment, simply bring it there. Gently, persistently, clearly to the breath. Feel a sense of confidence that you can do that, at least for a breath or two. And then if you need a stretch in place, good. Drop the effort and stretch. Relax. This helps us come back very fresh over and over and feel a sense of success in our calm abiding. And when you're ready, then you just return to the object, relaxed. If a lot of thoughts are crowding in, it's quite helpful to relax the body more. That's often the tension we're carrying. Just relax the body more. Come back to the object. Simply notice each time you're off, with no judgment, with a lot of kindness, bring it back. Once again, with a still mind and body, check in. Where's my mind? Bring it right to the object. And then relax the effort. These short sessions keep us from getting sleepy and dreamy and foggy. So it's quite good to brighten the mind. You can even look up. And when you feel ready, come back to the object with confidence, with freshness. Nothing to do, nothing to plan, nothing to remember, no one to be, just breath in, out. back. No worries, no judgment. Right to the object. And then relax any effort and brighten the mind. Now just continue up until Jeff rings the big gong. And as you need to brighten your mind or take these little breaks, you simply do it on your own. You can drop the effort, but it's quite important each time you make the shift, come back to the object very clearly before you drop the effort. And this is how we can learn to end each session also. That gives us a feeling of confidence and success that, oh, I am able to bring my mind to the object for at least 1, 2, 3, 4 breaths. So that way we always end a session with a sense of accomplishment. So now just continue the same process with a very wide view, relaxed, happy to be making this effort for others. this virtue may I quickly realize Mahamudra, and establish all beings without exception in this state. Thank you. Let's see a few announcements before tea time. Let me find out first how many are here for the first time or kind of new. If you'll just put your hand up. Would you mind sharing names? Just Bruce, welcome. Jennifer. Trevor? Jennifer, welcome. Brian, welcome. West, welcome. Okay, we're happy you're with us. Thanks for coming. So, just a few announcements of possible upcoming practices and other fun things. Every Wednesday here we have a Chenrezig practice from 7 to 8 with chanting in Tibetan, and you're welcome to that. And it's a group that's been going for decades, right, Sanjay? And so it has a lot of depth to it, and new people are welcome. Then Thursday, the second and fourth Thursday, so this coming Thursday from 7 to 8:30, we have a mind training discussion group, which is quite lively, quite fun, talking about the mind training slogans and how to apply them in our lives. And we're starting a new part of the text this coming Thursday. So if you're interested in that, come see me. We now have the paperback text for sale in our bookstore. Then Saturday, our lovely longtime practitioner Julie Herlacher will continue a series on a very important event that we will all experience someday, which is death. And so it's quite a good discussion to get in on that, to get ready for the inevitable. And Julie's a marvelous facilitator and has gathered a lot of good material around discussing death and stages and how to prepare, and both spiritually and in a very common sense way, practically. So that's from 3 to 5, I think, on Saturdays. And it's going to be a series. They're not back to back, but it's all on our calendar at kcc.org. Then the big news, February 10th, Saturday from noon to 3:30, we're going to have our annual Sangha gathering. And that will be a nice potluck lunch and meditation and reports from various groups that have been doing amazing things, including a slideshow which shows what this old church looked like when we got it 7 months ago, and all the stages, which are continuing down in the basement. So we're very grateful for all the donations, and particularly the workers and the volunteer workers. So it will be quite a fun time together, and that's February 10th. Today, about 16 folks that have been in India on the Mahamudra retreat returned, and 4 of them were here this morning. But because of the time, they said they won't be here this evening. This is like middle of the night. That was the right time. That was right before bed, they said. But anyway, 4 of them were here this morning and shared some little bits of what that trip was like for them. And seeing the reincarnation of Bokar Rinpoche and being stuck in a huge crowd for 2 hours next to the Dalai Lama and a few other wonderful adventures. So I think they're going to put together a slideshow and some kind of presentation, so that announcement will come out later. But we're so rejoicing. What's that?
They had to sit next to the Dalai Lama that whole time.
Yeah, 2 whole hours. Yeah, Sarah got stuck. I think they were standing rather than sitting, but a happy people jam where no one could move. And she had that great karma. Okay, anything else? Young people's group, first Friday of every month, so that'll be first Friday in February. I don't know the date. Talk to Matthew here if you wanna come, and if you think you're young enough to do it, you are. Okay, Jeff.
I just want to make one suggestion. A nice way to support your practice here and the practice of everyone else is when you get up to go have tea and relax and visit a little bit, if you turn and pay attention a little bit to the cushion that has supported you for the last hour, put it in place and respect it so it's there when you come back.
Yeah, and especially at the end of the evening too, but each time we get up, it's a really good habit to just, thank you, Jeff.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, tea time, 10 or 15 minutes.